talk to you. We back here once again. New film review out this week. This time around, we're going to be talking about Scream 6. Now, what is Scream 6 about? Scream 6 picks off where the last Scream film left off, where we are a year later after the events of Scream 5 and the murder in Woodsboro. We have our characters in the Carpenter sisters. They are now moved to the Big Apple, where Tara is in college. Her sister is currently going through therapy to go through traumatic events that happened to them within Scream 5. But once they're in New York, they have another threat of a Ghostface killer coming around, and this time around he is more ruthless than any other Ghostface they've ever faced before. Now, going into this movie, I am not the biggest horror movie fan in the world like that at all. I'm just not, especially when it comes to torture porn, gore movies. I'm just not. But the Scream franchise, I do really enjoy it. They have a nice tender place in my heart just because of how meta it can be and how they reference movies and franchises today, in particular horror movies. And I always love those aspects of the Scream movies. And with Scream, I love the original Scream. I really enjoyed second. Scream 3 sucked. Scream 4 was good, in my opinion, ahead of its time. Scream 5 that we got last year, I thought was really good and fun. What did I think of this one? In my honest opinion, I really feel that I enjoy this movie more than the last one. And out of the entire Scream franchise, this might be my favorite Scream sequel out of them all. I had a damn good fun time watching this movie from start to finish, especially since I was with somebody. We were both having fun, enjoying the experience watching this movie as a whole, because man, this time around with this Scream, the Ghostface killer, he is ruthless, he is vicious, he is on a mission. And you see that with just the kills, how with some Ghostface kills, you know, the original Ghostface, they'll do like a slow stab, just a quick little with this guy, he's just going around stabbing folks, just going so fast, so vicious. And coming out of the critic screenings, the first reactions that came out, they mentioned how this is going to be a very brutal Scream movie, a very vicious one, a gory one at that. And that little worried me a little bit, just because I'm not the biggest fan of gore as a whole. And overall, in my opinion, it wasn't as gore as I thought it really would be at the end of the day. Was there some gore elements to it? Yes. Was it very vicious? Was it brutal? Absolutely. And Scream fans, longtime diehard Scream fans, are absolutely gonna have a blast enjoying this movie from start to finish, especially if you enjoyed the last movie, because what the filmmakers, the producers behind this movie and the last one, they really get and understand Scream in 2022, 2023 standard. The guy behind this movies and the Scream franchise now, they really get and understand how to perfect and pull off Scream in today's modern day and age. And with this one, you really get a sense of more meta within this Scream movie. It's very meta in how they talk about horror movies and just movies in general, the franchise movies in general now today, and the rules and how it goes about with franchise movies and deaths of characters within movies. And they talk about how even legacy and main characters, they're all up for grabs and due to be killed. Like how they specifically mentioned Tony Stark, he got name dropped in this movie. And I really loved how they brought all of that into play with this movie here. It was very fun. It was very tense. There were some scary moments throughout. I'm not gonna lie, it's like very, very tense to where I had my hand over my mouth. I was sitting there chewing my popcorn, sitting up. I'm like, yo, this is really damn good. I'm really digging it. And then you do have your typical horror tropes. You have your typical Scream tropes, especially when you're at 6 movies within this franchise at this point in time with these movies. You're gonna see a lot of familiarity within these movies as well. And I want to talk about some more positive within our leads in Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera. As you can tell, the original actress that played Sydney, Neve Campbell, she's not in this movie whatsoever. She's mentioned within this movie, and they write around her absence within this movie, and it makes total sense. But you know, it comes to question whether our new leads in Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera can handle this franchise and take it over, and they absolutely do. They were great in this movie as the leads. They were great in the last movie. They were great in this movie. I really felt invested, and I loved these characters as well as their supporting cast, the friends that they have with them, this new core four as they call themselves. They were all great within this movie. And Neve Campbell, it sucks that she couldn't be in this movie because you could have wrote her in, but the way they wrote her out of this movie was perfect. And it came down to pay disputes why she wasn't in this movie. And that's kind of shitty in my opinion, because she's the original Scream girl. She's iconic. She's one of the OG final survivor women in movies. And she really is this franchise. This franchise is hers. So if she's asking for a certain amount of money, you give her whatever she asks for because she's carried this franchise on her back. But at the end, the movie was great and it works without Sydney, and they wrote her absence in a way to where it worked out perfectly in the end, in my opinion, and it all paid off. There are, you know, when you go into the negatives, there are some character choices throughout, some little plot details where you go question like, wait, why didn't you do this, and that? In particular with certain character choices and how the actions of certain characters throughout this movie, which I won't spoil. You're gonna get some of those throughout this movie just because, you know, you're like, why didn't you do this, and that? And it didn't bug me too much. It's just a minor little nitpick in my opinion, just because I really did have a great time watching this movie as a whole. But they're there, especially like I said, once you're at 6 movies in this franchise and trying to find a way to refresh it, make it modernized in today's terms. And I really loved how they used the legacy of the Scream franchise as a whole and using elements of the past movies to explain what's going on with this day and age and how this movie is going to come about within the plot of this story. I really dug that. They used elements of Scream 1, 2, 3, 4, all of them within this movie, and it paid out and worked out at the end, in my personal opinion, to where I really enjoyed it. I'm not even a big into kills in the movie, but when the kill scenes happened, I was sitting there like, yo, that was great. I hope I'm not a psychopath and wanting to throw Ghostface on, but that was some damn good kills in my personal opinion. And overall, I just had a blast with this movie. And the opening scene of this movie, you're gonna hear unanimously from us critics, the opening scene of this movie is absolutely fantastic. I love the way it played out. You think it's going one way, but then it goes to another, and then once it's all revealed at the end, it works out beautifully. This is the best opening to a Scream movie since, honestly, Scream 4, because the way they did the opening to Scream 4 was very, very clever in my opinion. And I think the intro to this movie tops the intro to Scream 4. The original Scream opening is iconic. You can't really touch that just because of how much of an effect it had on horror movies at the time when it dropped. But man, the opening to this movie was fantastic. The fight scene between Ghostface and Gale within this movie, I thought worked out masterfully. I love that scene. There's the tense moments in this movie that I referred to, like the subway scene that you've seen within the trailer. That was very tense and very heavy. And the twist and the killer reveals at the end, you know, you could piece it together as you're going along the movie, but then you could see how it could be this person, or this person. But once it all comes out at the end, it worked out just fine. I'm like, okay, he's the reveal. This is the reveal. I'm like, okay, the motivations behind it. I'm like, oh, okay, now I see how you use the legacy films of the past and use it to today and modernize it in a way. And I really dug that about this movie. So overall, I had a blast watching this movie from start to finish. It's very violent. There are some gore moments. It's bloody. The kill count is very high. The Ghostface in this movie is very vicious. Our leads in Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera were fantastic. Once again, I can easily see them making the Scream 7, and I can easily see them already having scripts ready and written and ready to go. And I can also see them doing the same thing that they did with this movie. That is, get filming it for a couple of months this year and have it be released in mid next year, just like they did with this movie. They can fast track this movie if they really want to, and I think they will. Rumor has it that Scream 7's already greenlit, and if this movie does well, best believe we're gonna Scream 7 But overall, I really dug this movie from start to finish. That's why on the fish scale, I'm gonna go big. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 4 out of 5 on the fish scale. Yes, I gave that to a horror movie. It gave me a great time. I loved it. I hope you all go out and see it for yourselves. Man, this was a damn good Scream movie, and I'm so happy with the way this movie turned out. I really am. But overall, thank you guys so much for being here with me today for this review. Be on the lookout for future videos being on the way, where I'm gonna pick things up and get more videos out to you guys all the time. And yeah, I had a blast watching this movie and doing this review for you all. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon.